to set up all this live streaming for the first time during this course. You're right, it's not an easy thing. You have to try.
Indeed, indeed. And we're live. Here we are. It is the Martin Fowler Scrum on a Wednesday. Woohoo, Wednesday. We have Brent, we have Subota, we have Praveen. Subota, you were just saying the difficult to set up. Was that all the Ruby and Rails stuff for the Agile development using Ruby on Rails course was hard?
Yes, but it's merely due to the fact that I was frozen back in '90s and just woke up recently.
Yeah, you were saying yesterday. Yes, lots of new things to catch up with. Well, here we are. Let's jump in. I have just been working on Electron, which is all JavaScript, and working on a V8 flags harmony bug that basically seems to be a bug in Electron. So I'm just doing a report on that. That's for a private project. Other things going on. I've been working on trying to break up the getting started page, try and make that clearer and more straightforward. And I'm also trying to deploy some of the latest website one stuff. We've got various fixes going out. Hope to have that out later today. Other things being equal, we had the NHS meeting kickoff yesterday. Started reaching out to some different NHS groups that are doing social prescribing up and down the country. I'm arranging a meeting for next Thursday with a new charity who's starting up a new paid project with us for a literary society. And we've got the Elixir mob coming up in about 55 minutes. Other things happening today. I'm planning to work on async voter today. That's pretty much my plan. Let's go. Subota was first in. Subota, how are things going with you?
The second Scrum with this team for me. So I'm sort of figuring out what's going on, making myself familiar with the list of your tasks, with the list of the issues. And frankly speaking, I intend to continue participating in that even after the course ends, because I feel gaps in my experience that can be fulfilled by participating and contributing to projects like that.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Is there anything that you need, any questions we can answer now, or anything that's blocking you making progress?
I plan to participate several meetings to make myself familiar with the area of the project, because everything is new for me. The language is new, the business area is new, the domain is new.
Sure. Okay, I will keep on hanging out, and don't hesitate to ask questions if you have them. Let's move on from Subota to Brent. Hey, Brent, how are things going with you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, so I had a hangout yesterday evening with Fernando, who was working on the map issue on local support.
Yes.
So he showed me what he's put together so far for the Jasmine tests. Unfortunately, they're not working as expected. It seems that he has a little bit more knowledge of Jasmine than me, but not a huge amount. So the plan now is for us to both spend a couple of days, teaching ourselves and familiarizing ourselves more with Jasmine, and then we'll have another call later in the week to hopefully try and fix those problems. The issue seems to be, so what we're trying to do is to spy on some functions to make sure that they are called if the longitude and latitude was missing. And that seems to work fine if you're looking at JavaScript that is a local asset to the site. But obviously the functions that we're checking on are from the Google Maps, and it appears that it can't spy on those. Now, it looks like that maybe it could be related to the version of Jasmine that's being used, because it seems that in future versions that may have been fixed. But we need to do a bit more investigation to be sure. Okay.
Yeah, well, that all sounds... Yeah, I just brought up the code here. Yes, it's one of those areas. Fernando was in the Scrum yesterday, and we were talking about how, ironically, sometimes it's faster to fix the problem than it is to work out how to get the tests to check that it's been fixed. But that's so you're there in that wonderful character building experience. It sounds like you've got it under control. So I guess we'll leave you with it and hear back from you again when you've got a bit further.
Yeah, thank you. And apart from that, I took Federico's advice yesterday, and I signed up for the Michael Hartle's book course, and I've been working through that. That's really good, actually. So if you're new to Rails, and I recommend it. Obviously, it's free only if you can watch all of it in 10 days. So I'm hoping that I can do that.
Yeah, well, you're highly incentivized to get through a lot of material while it's available. Yes.
Yeah, I did actually purchase the ebook because I guess what I'm going to do is watch the videos and then actually work through the ebook. I know you can have the book free on HTML, but I like using my iBooks on the iPad because it means that I'm not flipping between screens all the time. So and it's good for the author.
Excellent. Well, absolutely, yes. He's put a lot of great material out there, and good to support him. Absolutely, good stuff. Excellent, Brent. Cool. Yeah. Anything else on your mind?
No, not at the moment. Thanks.
All right. Great stuff. Great report. Thank you very much. Praveen, how are things going with you?
So I've started working that deactivated user issue. The one thing I couldn't find is how the user is logging in. And to the authentication control, but I couldn't find a before action or before filter, something like that, from where we are finding the user. So I'm currently looking through it. Also, I've checked your comment on the previous, showing karma count on user page. So surely it if you just put if you could just guide my instruction or file, where should I write that?
Sure. Yeah. So your audio is breaking up rather a lot, Praveen. I think I know what you're saying. I think you were describing that initially, you've been looking at this, deactivated user issue, and this is in the context of website 1, and then also my comments on your pull request, saying that maybe we could have some cucumber tests rather than those RSpec tests, and you need some guidance there. I guess, we can maybe look at both of those issues at the end of the Scrum, and I don't know if you can move on to a different Wi-Fi or what we can do there to maybe try and work on your audio. But yes, I'll give you some extra help at the end of the Scrum if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay, great stuff. Let's just go on to Lara. Hey, Lara, how's it going?
All right, and you, Sam. Just from my side, I've just been working on some SHA features. I submitted the pull requests. Patrick's just busy reviewing them. Today I've been trying to catch up on Elixir. I was hoping to have finished the Udemy course, but I've hit a blocker there because what the mob was on is a bit different to the latest version of Elixir.
The version has changed, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. So everything I'm trying to do is not working. So that's where I'm at.
Right. Yes. Frustrating. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. Obviously, there's been some big changes there. I wonder if, locking to the previous version might be the way to go. Anyway, challenging.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see you in the Elixir mob. And anything else we can help you with at all?
No, just the Elixir stuff.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Oh, I think that's our Scrum. Did anybody have anything else that they had forgotten to mention, or anybody looking for a pair partner?
Yes, please, Sam. Can we have small issue voting session?
We could have an issue voting session. I think what we would need on this occasion is for someone to propose an issue to be voted on. I'm tempted to try and help Praveen. That was the issue that we voted on yesterday. So, I mean, Suboda, what I can say is if you're very keen to vote on an issue, maybe you could look through the issues in website 1 or local support and propose one that you would like to be voted on, and then we could do that. Whether there'll be time today, I'm not sure. What I was going to say was another thing, Subota, when you were describing about sort of project team and so on. The other thing is to be aware of that we have the multiple projects. So and I know it's all new and it's just getting started, but so that's you kind of want to get that straight in your head of, you know, which of the projects that are going on, what they're doing, and that then might allow you to propose particular projects, stories, or issues to vote on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm on the page of local support project in Agile Benches. Now I have to make it to Vessel site with issue management somehow.
Well, for local support, that's a pivotal tracker. It's different there. So I mean, I can post you the links for those. There will be tomorrow afternoon. We'll have we'll have the local support meeting, and we can do a review of how that all works. And there certainly will be some voting going on there. I'll just put in the chat. There's a link to the pivotal tracker for local support. We also do have. Oh, go on. We do have some docs on GitHub that are more specific about the kind of flow of working on a project, where I think the example is specifically from local support. So that would be a great document to read and to start, you know, familiarizing yourself with the flow of that project. But perhaps we can go into that in more detail tomorrow if you can attend the local support meeting. Otherwise, we can perhaps leave it there. Praveen, should we just do, I don't know if you're on Wi-Fi, you've been able to change network or plug into a hard LAN cable. Should we just see how your audio is doing now?
Is it working okay now?
That sounded okay. I guess we give that a go. I think we're at 15 minutes past, so that's the end of the scrum. Everyone feel free to slip off or stick around as you will. My plan is just to try and give Praveen a little bit of help now. But so, yeah, the first thing, Praveen, you were talking about the this issue, this deactivated user thing. You were saying that you couldn't work out how they logged in. Is that what you said?
So I've gone through the authentication controller. So there was this thing where we are finding users through oath, but it was I can't it properly. That's why. If you could just walk me through the code.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I think I understand. Yeah, you're going to the authentication controller, and you were unclear about how the process in the authentication controller whereby the user logged in, and yes, so we can have a quick look at that. It is kind of complicated because we've got, as I think you probably know, sort of 3 different ways to be authenticated into the Website 1 project. And so there's 2 things. There's a registrations controller, and then there's also an authentications controller, which I'm just trying to bring up here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now, which way around? Now, the authentications controller, this is working with OmniAuth, and this is like helping kind of manage the so Devise. Have you heard of Devise, by the way?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So there's the Devise Rails thing is, we've got, you know, it's this whole authentication solution framework that plugs into Rails, and so we've got here, like, yeah, all this stuff. It's difficult to follow the flow of the code because they're all kind of things that hook into Devise's authentication flow. So I'm not sure how easily I can walk you through it so much. I mean, because there are various things, like we've got here, like if we look at attempt login with auth, and we kind of go to what I want to find. I don't find usages. I'll just do control. If I do, this is one of the advantages of having RubyMine set up, is I can do a jump there. Yeah, okay. So I guess there is a flow there. Basically, if you know this authentication thing is going to check for either GitHub or Google+, and then if that's present, then it's going to attempt login with auth, and then we've got that down there, and then you know, in each case, right, okay, another account is associated with these credentials and so on. It's gonna, I think you can sort of approximately follow those things there. You can sort of see that like each of these, like, or if there is an existing user, create new authentication for current user. This is the situation where somebody, they're already a user and they're trying to reassociate, they're trying to add their GitHub or Google Plus. What have we got then? And we've got, and then if they're basically, they've got no, you know, existing authentication and there is an existing current user, and it's like, then this is the one for kind of signing up there and then create new user with authentication and sets that up. But we've also then got the registrations controller, and this is what's going to handle the situation where the person's logging in with, you see, we've got the capture here. So if a person is signing up or logging in with their email and password, then it's going to go through this this one here. But I would say that the key thing in some ways is that the flow is less relevant than, you know, we've got, in this situation, a deactivated user got a 500 error trying to log in. Now, the critical thing that we need to do, particularly in the case of a bug, but also ideally in the case of a feature, is we want to try and write a test, and this is a system level test, so a Cucumber test here, that replicates this issue. So there's an argument to say that in the first instance, we should not be trying too hard to understand how the system works. Because in the process of doing a bug fix, right, the danger is that if we start looking around in the code and we say, oh, yes, the fix is here, and we make some little fix, right, and then we kind of like, oh, it's kind of done, you know, and then the test becomes an afterthought. Whereas really, this is from sort of an agile, extreme programming point of view. What we should be starting off with is writing a Cucumber test that will encounter this error, however it happens under the hood. Does that make any sense?
Yes. To follow TDD here, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid your audio broke up badly there, and I couldn't understand what you were saying.
So I think you're here, test-driven development, right?
I think your audio is so bad that you'll either need to use the text chat. I assume that you can hear me okay, but I don't know. What I may have to do is, it may be more efficient to give you help directly in the you know, the issue itself. I guess we've also got the other thing, which is like, you know, I've been asking you for a Cucumber thing here. So I think you may be not so familiar with Cucumber, and so you are asking for help in a general sense of like, how can I get started with the Cucumber? And I'd say that the key thing there is that you want to kind of move over, like forget about the app directory at the moment and focus on the features directory. So we've already got, like, if you look in the users directory, we've got, you know, like a sign up feature here that kind of goes through doing all the different things and sort of generating all of this, that, and the other. So the key for making progress on this is that this is a person got this problem when they tried to log in. So what we want then, that sign in, basically we need a new scenario in here that's going to be a person signing up, but we need a background step to make the user that's trying to sign in be deleted. And in the first instance, see if by running the Cucumber test, we can get the same 500 error, right? Or at least some error that we think is the same. So I don't know if you've got access to RubyMine. I find it's so useful here. I've got, given I am logged in, I can do Command B on my Mac here, and it will jump to the precise step definition of what that is. And then I can go and see, okay, create user and so on. So I might need to have some additional method, which is like create deleted user or create user and then delete user, or however I do it, and then add that as an additional scenario in the sign in feature. If we consider then also the Cucumber for this, show the Calm account on my account page, then we can have a look at, it's probably going to be the profile feature here. Yeah, so that's viewing profile. This is like lists of all the things I think you expect to see on the individual page. So similarly here, for this feature that you implemented about showing the karma on the page, we might expect to see another scenario here about, you know, showing the karma on the page. And yeah, were you able to hear what I was saying? Okay, does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. And I can see that you're saying there, yes, you're new to Cucumber. Yes. So Praveen, did you do the edX course, Agile Development using Ruby on Rails?
No, I was following through it, but I couldn't complete it.
I see.
Before
Yes.
I could
Okay.
complete it, it was one.
Yeah. And so you hadn't got to the section on Cucumber particularly. Okay. Yes. So I guess the key thing there is that like you'll want some maybe. Well, so you know, the issue there is you may want to go back to the course and do, for example, there's the BDD Cucumber assignment, which is also available on GitHub, which is all about trying to, you know, like, have you done this assignment?
No.
So this is like, if you're finding managing Cucumber hard, then this would be a good assignment to do, because it's a very gradual and slow, a step-by-step introduction to Cucumber. So you might find that helpful. You may, you know, like, oh, not like assignments. There is documentation for Cucumber, which you can look up, which is all about this, that, and the other. So you can check that out. And, you know, I'd strongly encourage you, if you've got the code locally, to explore the Cucumber that we have here. And I'd say the critical thing, really, for getting anything done in Cucumber, particularly because in website 1, the Cucumber takes a long time to run, is that if we're in, and I'm just going to find website 1 over there, is that you very, 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 very much want to get set up so that you can run individual tests. So, if we're saying, okay, I'm going to focus on this sign-in feature, we can do like this sign-in feature, and then say, right, I want to just check this scenario, right? So I can run that. So using this kind of syntax, I can run one Cucumber scenario, which is basically just RSpec under the hood, but it's just got, you know, English language.
Yes.
Yeah, you get, English. It's English language statements that, through these step definitions, map to Ruby definitions. So here, and even with just running a single thing, actually the load up time is kind of slow there, which is sort of a pain. But that you can then make progress by, go here. You know, if you're creating your new scenario at the end of this file, as we were just talking about, then, you know, for like 42, and then you can run, you know, that's, you've made a new one, you can just be running your new thing, and you can kind of copy the existing ones and, you know, play around to create the new scenario, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yes.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Apologies if my audio was breaking up for you. The full video should be available and linked to on the website if you want to review. But yeah, I think going forward from there, I'll try and give you more help and support in the GitHub. Right. Well, I better get on and get ready for the Elixir mob. I'll maybe see you all soon. Bye for now.
Yep. Cheers. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.